Hussein have been playing in the county circuit recently, right? I
Mm.
think they've been playing for a couple of months now. So they're obviously now tuned to those conditions, right? Whereas from India, it's just Pujara. Only silver lining that I look at is, Sumit, that the final is not happening at a ground like, let's say, Headingley, or let's
Okay.
say Trent Bridge, where the ball swings
Really
more,
swings.
right? Oval at least is one of the better batting surfaces in England, right? Where
Mm.
traditionally the ball doesn't hoop around a lot. Like, if you generally think oval, you think of high scores and spin coming in the latter half. You could hardly recollect sides getting bowled out in the on the first day for
Or
150.
if
Or
I
if I
was
was one of the Indian selectors, I would go for Bharat, and I'll give you the reason why. Because one is, you have been grooming him as the backup for Pant, right? And he did decently in the test matches with Australia recently. Now, from a culture standpoint, also, it's quite demotivating if he gets dropped, because you've been billing this guy as the next keeper after Pant. Plus, from a practical point of view, if India decides to go in with two spinners, there's a high probability India might go for Ashwin and Jadeja. Bharat definitely is the better keeper. And the Oval traditionally has a penchant for spinning in the last couple of days.
because it's a one-off test match, I have a feeling they might do this corporate thing and get somebody from outside. कि तुम कर लो, because left-hander एक तो this left-hander fascination is too much. Because
Correct.
all top
And
five are
India's top order
right-handers,
is right-handers, right? Yeah.
so they might just do this fancy thing of putting him after Kohli also, like they used to. But Pant was a proper batsman. I don't think you should
Hmm.
do that with Rahane and Kishan, but they might do it to break that, so that Kishan and Jadeja don't land up together with 6 and 7, right?
Correct.
So I would have also preferred Bharat, but I have a very strong gut feeling it's going to be Kishan because of the left-handedness and
Crunch
the X
match, I
factor.
would go with Ashwin, and I'll tell you the reasons why. One, if you look at the Australian batting order, lot of left-handers, right? And we
Hmm.
know how potent Ashwin is against left-handers, right? He just
Agree.
gets in that zone, and he's a very good, candidate for getting batsman LBW or bowled. That is one factor. Plus, the other factor for me is the over conditions.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, if it's overcast, then obviously Ashwin will not be that effective. But if it's sunny, if the pitch breaks down over the last over the last, on the fourth and fifth day, then Ashwin becomes very menacing in those conditions.
And this one, even I don't know. Personally, I would just take Shardul because it's England and the ball might not turn so much. But your point about the left-handers is what makes me think, okay, there are 4 left-handers in the top 7 for Australia. So Ashwin becomes a very good bowler, even to control the innings from one end.
Correct.
They won't take chances against him. And then from one end, the Pacers can keep battering them. So safer option would be Ashwin. Shardul is more again. If this was a series, probably I would have tried Shardul, but it's a one-off. I think you have. If you go to go with Kishan, anyways, you have one X factor. Let's not get another X factor with BP. So let's go with a stable option.
Hello all, and welcome to a new video on the Third Man Musings. So we are finally done with the IPL review series. We released around 4 videos where we covered all the 10 teams, and we did some very critical analysis on how the 10 teams fared. So if you have not been able to watch that so far, please go to our channel and catch all those videos. Now the focus shifts slightly. We are going to be united all back together as Indian fans. I know during the last 2 months, all of us were supporting our respective teams, and there was a lot of banter. But now all of us, it's again time to come back together and support India, and it's a very important phase for India. Starting from now, we have the WTC final, we have the Asia Cup, and the all important ODI World Cup, right? And the ICC title has been eluding India for 10 years now, so it is time for India to make things correct, and again bring back that triumphant spirit to Indian cricket fans. So Sumit, on that note, how excited are you about the WTC final coming up?
So very excited that India is part of another WTC final. I think the transition is what's going to be tough. Like it's been T20 for so long now. I don't remember ODI cricket or Test matches. Now suddenly we're back to 5 days. Things will be slow. Strike rates are not important. Anchors are important suddenly. So better, more anchor you are, the better you are. So that transition should be fun. Drama that any Test match has, especially the last session, is something which even T20 matches don't match because it's like best bowlers against the best batsmen, right? There's no weak fifth bowler or quotas or anything. Light is there, time wasting is there, limited overs. Like IPL में 20 ओवर तुम 4 घंटे लगा लो करने पड़ेंगे, यहाँ पे तो टाइम होता है, इफ यू डू इट
Right.
डू इट, अदरवाइज मैच इज क्लोज्ड. So it has its own eccentricities that okay, test matches which make it a lot of fun and the ultimate form of cricket, as everybody says. So looking forward to this. This is India's second attempt in the WTC final. Last one did not go so well, and this one, let's see. It's a stronger opposition, I believe, from last time. So we'll go over the teams first, and then we'll discuss the major talking points and how we think it might go around. So starting with our team, India. So the good thing is the team pretty much picks itself. There are few talking points only in this lineup for me. So the openers are sorted with Sharma and Gill. For Gill, I think it's a big chance with the
Hmm.
kind of form he has, and he has a bit of a footwork problem, so the moving ball should trouble him, I feel. But with the way he's batting right now, it might just work out for him with the whole hand-eye coordination. So big chance for Gill to cement his place. Now he's already been the prince, right? Now it's about how close can he get to the king. So let's see if this he can make. But it's a one-off test. That's where I feel it's very difficult to judge. If he fails, he
Right.
fails. But big chance for him to showcase all this talent that he's showing to the world. Number three is your Pujara, which is the only guy who's prepared properly for this match. He's been playing in the county. Poor guy plays every year, so he's ultimate. He's the best prepared amongst everybody in this team. So Pujara, then Kohli, Rahane will be the comeback man, and the way he played for CSK, if he plays even 50-60% of that, I'll be happy. The positive intent and the way he played pace, the counter attacking nature, I think he's going to be immense. And timely callback because Shreyas was also batting very well, but injury happened. Rahane discovers his form, so poor guy gets a chance to reach 100 test matches. I think he's stuck on 96 or 97, I believe. So I think if he plays decent here, he will reach his 100 test matches, which he deserves personally. I mean, he's been like a very legendary figure in the test match circuit. Coming now to the controversial one, the number six slot. So if there was Pant, there was never a doubt who's going to be the keeper batsman. Now, suddenly we have two options because of Pant's unfortunate injury. It is KS Bharat and Ishan Kishan. So my question to you is, who do you prefer? It's a very difficult one actually. If you think
It's
about
a
it,
difficult question.
so
Yeah, it's a
who would you go
difficult
for?
question. First of all, I think why it's a difficult question is because of Pant's immense contribution to Indian Test cricket over the last couple of years. Right, he has been
Hmm.
India's most impact batsman, right, in Test cricket especially. Who can forget his heroics in Australia? Even the Test match which got rescheduled in England last year, he hit 100
Hmm.
there also.
And,
So I mean, he'll be sorely missed. If you ask me if I was the Indian captain or if I was, one of the Indian selectors, I would go for Bharat, and I'll give you the reason why. Because one is you have been grooming him as the backup for Pant, right? And he did decently in the test matches with Australia recently. Now, from a culture standpoint, also, it's quite demotivating if he gets dropped because you've been billing this guy as the next keeper after Pant, and then suddenly for a final you drop him. And I mean, if you get somebody else, nothing against Kishan or anyone, but it doesn't look from a good from a team culture point of view. Plus, from a practical point of view, if India decides to go in with two spinners, there's a high probability India might go for Ashwin and Jadeja. Bharat definitely is the better keeper for
hmm.
keeping on, and the oval traditionally has a penchant for spinning in the last couple of days. So if India has a good target to defend, or let's say going into the last couple of days, then Bharat's keeping also becomes very important. So my pick personally would be Bharat, but happy to hear your thoughts also on that.
So what you said is all logical, and that's how it should be. But I think I get reminded of examples from our companies. So we have this person who has been groomed for the next role, right? And he should be promoted as the next manager. But then you will get an external hiring. कि नहीं, we will get somebody at a higher price, a 30% increment, and not give this guy a 10% increment, and we'll get him over this guy who has been groomed to be the next manager. So it happens in corporate, and I won't be surprised if it happens here, only because they have this fascination of X factors. That Pant is X factor player, किशन भी लेफ्ट हैंडर, वो भी X factor player बनेगा, तो वो भी counter attack करेगा. Pant has his moments where brain fade moments, right, where you also hold your, you like tear your hair and like कर क्या रहा है ये, but I think we just have accepted it because of the brilliance that guy has.
Correct.
Kishan, on the other hand, whatever little you saw in the IPL when the ball was moving, he looked at C.
Hmm.
So he didn't look comfortable at all. He's a good player and he's again very young, like Punk, 20 to 23. So long way to go for him. So just because it's a one-off test match, I have a feeling they might do this corporate thing and get somebody from outside कि तुम कर लो, because left-hander एक तो this left-hander fascination is too much because
Correct.
all top
And
five are
India's top order
right-handers.
is right-handers, right? Yeah.
So they might just do this fancy thing of putting him after Kohli also, like they used to. But Pant was a proper batsman. I don't think you should
Hmm.
do that to Rahane and Kishan, but they might do it to break that, so that Kishan and Jadeja don't land up together with 6 and 7, right?
Correct.
So I would have also preferred Bharat, but I have a very strong gut feeling it's going to be Kishan because of the left-handedness and the X factor, and because India does do strange selections, as you know, during Kohli Shastri time, they do this thing, and you're
Uh,
like wondering. क्योंकि जब अश्विन को खिलाना चाहिए था, they never played him, and then when
Correct.
they shouldn't have played him, they played him in last year's final when the pitch didn't turn. So I have a bad feeling it's going to happen with Kishan also. And after that, Jaddu, I think sealed his spot. I mean, I I still believe Akshar is a better batsman than Jadeja. Not, but after Jadeja's heroics in the final,
Correct.
he's not getting dropped. So Jadeja is sure shot player there. I leave one spot and then come to the bottom three. So
Hmm.
your pace bowling battery is pretty sorted. Again, with the injuries also happening on the side. So Siraj and Shami are like given, and very good bowling and test match bowling in IPL, which worked for them. So they are
You're
in
right.
like proper form. I'm very confident about. If there's any reason I'm confident about India, it's because of these guys. They're
True.
very good and fit. Number third pacer will be Umesh Yadav because we don't have anybody else left now. Everybody's injured, and it is between him and Unadkat is what I understand. So any day I would put Umesh Yadav. At least he'll. I don't know how fit he is because KKR
Hmm.
he got injured. That's why he wasn't
Correct.
playing in the end. But definitely he's the third pacer. So then comes the next, I think, talking point, which will be debated either ways. And depending on how this result goes, I think this Kishan decision and this next decision, if India lose, these two decisions will be criticized. If India win, these two decisions will be applauded. This was
True.
a right call. So the number 8 slot, where you need a batter and bowler, a batter come bowler, basically, bowler come batter, whatever you want to say. Who do you take? Do you take the legendary Ashwin, who can also bat and give you that spin option, or do you go with the beefy, who does these weird things? He does get the job done, batting, bowling. So who do you pick?
Again, this is a tough one, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I would hate to be the Indian captain or selector right now because there's so much talent at disposal, right?
Mm.
But again, no disrespect to Shardul here. I think he's a very good, hardworking cricketer. But for this crunch match, I would go with Ashwin, and I'll tell you the reasons why. One, if you look at the Australian batting order, lot of left-handers, right? And we
Mm.
know how potent Ashwin is against left-handers, right? He just
Mm.
gets in that zone, and he's a very good, candidate for getting batsman LBW or bold. That is one factor. Plus, the other factor for me is the over. If it's dry, if it's sunny, and the pitch is breaking, maybe not as much as Indian pitches, but if there's
Mhm.
slight wear and tear, then Ashwin becomes a altogether different bowler. Plus, he's more stable with the bat. I feel. I think like Shardul also gives you some very good sparkling innings, but Ashwin at least I think is more sound technically when the ball moves. So for me, Ashwin a slight edge over Shardul.
Yeah, I mean, based on the record also, right? This guy is nearly 500 wickets or more. So he's
Yeah,
like a legend in his own right. So we keep saying that he should be playing during Kohli's era, but Kohli had a preference for pace, so he used to miss out. I would have, if you want a radical suggestion, I would have played Ashwin instead of Jadeja only because I know who's the better
hmm,
bowler, but it weakens your
correct,
batting. And I think people are scared of our Indian batting, anyways, and we need that cushion with the number 8. So, uh, only reason Shardul is because of the magical things he did against Australia in Australia when he was called out of the blue and he bowled, he batted, he did everything possible that a player could have done to win those series. So I think it'll be this call will be taken in the morning based on
based
the
on
weather
the
condition.
conditions.
But as you said, London weather is very unpredictable. You don't know what will happen. So even if it's cloudy and gloomy, suddenly the sun can come out also, and vice versa. So they need to be very sure about the weather. And more than the weather, the pitch, I guess. If the pitch is
Hmm,
green, there's a little bit of grass there, it's very clear it's going to seam around. And the Ash, oval traditionally it starts turning from day 4 and 5. So
right,
are you going to play one player to wait for the 4 or 5? And for that, you need to bat first then to be effective.
correct.
Then you have to play Australia's pace battery in that first session. So it's a very tough call. And this one, even I don't know. Personally, I would just take Shardul because it's England and the ball might not turn so much. But your point about the left-handers is what makes me think, okay, there are 4 left-handers in the top 7 for Australia. So Ashwin becomes a very good bowler, even to control the innings from one end.
Correct.
They won't take chances against him. And then from one end, the Pacers can keep battering them. So safer option would be Ashwin. Shardul is more again. If this was a series, probably I would have tried Shardul, but it's a one-off. I think you have, if you go to go with Kishan, anyways, you have one X factor. Let's not get another X factor with BP. So let's go with the stable option with Ashwin. So
Yeah,
either ways you can go, and either ways we will be criticizing this decision when we review the test match if we lose. So I think
correct,
let's see how it goes. Coming
correct.
to Australia, that is a very settled lineup. I mean, Warner, Khwaja really shown in the test series against India. You have Labuschagne and Smith, the two crazy cricketers with 60 plus averages. You have Head, who's a counter attacker. Green, who's the next superstar for them, and like
Hmm.
way better, like a rich man's Mitch Marsh, I guess, because he plays and doesn't get injured, and it gives you the results in bowling and batting. And his bowling will become effective in England. He's a very
Right,
good handy fifth bowler to have. So number
right.
six, number seven is Carey, a fixed keeper, and the four bowlers. There's no doubt there. We are discussing who to play, but they are very sure. Even though Todd Murphy bowled very well in this recent series, the three paces and Lyon, who will be just holding one end up afterwards.
Hmm.
Very settled, really no controversy. I think the main point, now that we will discuss the points about the test match, I think the
Correct.
preparation. I think
Hmm.
Australia are better prepared in terms of the rest because only Warner and Green played IPL. I'm not considering Hazelwood, okay? He was there, but he was
Yeah,
not
he
there
hardly
for.
played 3, 4 matches. Yeah.
So out of 11, two players have played your IPL in terms of fatigue and possible niggles. Only two people, and Warner also played like a test match in IPL to be ready for this. So he is also ready in a twisted way.
Yeah.
So that is Australia,
Hmm.
and these are Australian conditions. Let's be honest about it. It's not India's background where they're going. No? So now I come to India, and again the age-old question: IPL versus international cricket. Only Pujara is the one who's prepared for this entire test match. Everybody else is coming off a very grueling IPL. Everybody has played all matches. I think we discussed the workload management, right? We used to keep
Yeah,
discussing. कुछ
yeah,
होगा लोग रेस्ट करेंगे.
yeah. We were
Same.
hoping, 10, 11 matches. Everybody played every match. So,
Everything.
yeah.
शर्मा जी को तो सब खेल दिया शर्मा जी बिना करे तो शर्मा जी only like conserved himself by getting out जल्दी जल्दी. I think that's his only way he could
He
take
had a
rest.
long range plan in mind. So,
अभी टेस्ट मैच में भी also he'll stay for 3-4 overs, then you tell me कि हाँ वहाँ पे भी he has a long range. वो एशिया कप सोच रहे हैं
oh,
फिर एशिया कप में
Asia
वर्ल्ड
Cup
कप
and
सोच
ODI
रहे हैं.
World Cup. Yeah.
उसके बाद एमआई सोचेगा सीधा.
Okay.
So I'll hope to God all this preparation is done of not batting a lot in IPL works out in the test match where he can stand for 2 sessions. Because he stands for 2 sessions, he'll get a
Hmm.
hundred. The way
Hmm.
he is and the field is up, he'll do very
Correct.
well. The talent we have no doubt about. So how do you preparation wise? Do you see? Does it scare you like last year?
Preparation wise, I'm a bit scared because Smith and
Mm,
Labuschagne have been playing in the county circuit recently, right? I think
mm,
they've been playing for a couple of months now. So they're obviously now tuned to those conditions, right? Whereas from India, it's just Pujara. Plus, they are in that test match frame of mind also because they've been playing 4 day cricket, 5 day cricket.
mm,
Whereas
mm,
for
mm.
India, it will be a sudden transition, right? That too, what the IPL just got done, in the last week of
Last
May, and
week.
suddenly we are starting next week, hardly a week's gap, right? So suddenly switching from, it's not even from 50 over cricket to test cricket, it's
Test match.
T20s to test match. So that I'm a little worried about. The only silver lining that I look at is, Sumit, that the final is not happening at a ground like, let's say, Headingley, or let's
Okay.
say Trent Bridge, where the ball swings
The
more,
swings.
right? Oval at least is one of the better batting surfaces in England, right? Where
Mm.
traditionally the ball doesn't hoop around a lot. Like, if you generally think oval, you think of high scores and spin coming in the latter half. You could hardly recollect sides getting bowled out in the on the first day for 150 or so. So I am still hoping that, because it's the oval, it slightly helps India's batting perform more. That I'm hoping for, unless ICC decides to roll out a green pitch, which I hope is not the case.
Huh.
But
They
hopefully,
would
oval
want.
should help India. Yeah,
They starting the test match on Wednesday, right? They would wanted to go to day 4 or 5. Weekend तब आ रहा है, so I
yeah,
would have thought कि Thursday को start करना चाहिए था. At least day 3 तक तो पहुंचेगा. There's a huge
correct,
chance this might get over in 3 days also. You
correct.
don't know if the pitch is that green. One more point, adding to yours, is the ball. The Duke ball is something that is used in England, which
Hmm.
constantly swings around. So with the Kookaburra, it gets a bit slow. The swing stops. Then you have to
Right,
be really skillful to get something out of that ball. But Duke ball just keeps swinging through the day,
through
and
the
that's
day.
again, and that's where again Shardul might come in because he'll then keep bowling that channel ball
Hmm.
outside the off stump for on and on and on and try to get the nick. So if a Duke ball plus the overcast conditions and a green pitch, then I
Hmm.
don't see Ashwin coming, or he should
Yeah,
be coming also in that case.
yeah,
Then you
yeah.
have to go with what you have, and then that's the only guy who can bat and bowl. I know his batting is not reliable, but we have to do what we have, right?
Yeah.
That was Shami also scored, and Bumrah also scored in England. I remember that epic
Yeah.
partnership. Right?
Yeah.
So uh, I think Australia for me will be favorites because traditionally India are slow starters whenever they go abroad. They do pick it up as time goes on, but there's no time to pick up. Last WTC final, this exact story happened, and we batted first, and we scored like 200, 220 something, and then the initiative was gone. And after that, it was a long slog the entire day. First day was rained off, right? I think we played on the reserve day last
Yeah.
match.
Yeah. Reserve. It went to the last session of the reserve day. Yeah.
So New Zealand chased it up very comfortably. I think we all of being very bullish कि अरे एक wicket गिरेगा हो जाएगा, but it was just a
Correct.
160 का chase or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
New
The
Zealand batting
Taylor
was
and
really inexperienced.
Williamson guided them. Yeah.
And उसके नीचे they were all inexperienced batsmen, so
True.
I think that's why we were very confident. And Bumrah was also playing, so we were hoping
Hmm.
and Bumrah was bowling very well. I remember Bumrah
Yeah.
was actually very menacing. उसको मिला नहीं wicket,
Correct.
and this time we don't have him. We have Shami and Siraj, who are very good, but the third
Hmm.
pacer plus Shardul might be the weak link.
Correct.
So for me, I know it's sad to say, but for me, Australia are the favorites for this.
Hmm.
And for you, India.
I would um, again, obviously there's a little bit of emotion which comes into play here, but even if I look at it objectively, for me I'll give India a slight edge, and I'll tell you why.
Mm,
Because one is
mm,
Players have been playing competitive cricket, right? While
mm,
I know Smith, Labuschagne, we have discussed, have been accustomed to the English conditions now playing county cricket, but when you're playing competitive cricket, you are in some level of form, your competitive juices are flowing. That also is a different level of motivation altogether, right? Because you see, Gill and Kohli are coming off, hundreds, right? They are doing really well. Shami and Siraj were constantly taking wickets with the new ball, right? And they will be a potent threat here. And if India have to win, you can't underestimate Shami and Siraj's role,
mm,
right?
mm,
So that is there. And Jaddu has come off a high, right? Jaddu and Rahane, both of them for CSK. So there are a lot of things going well for India. Also, a lot of good feel-good factors coming into this Test match as well. And just because it's the Oval also, right? Had it been Trent Bridge or the
mm,
Lords also it does swing. So because of that, and one more thing, I know we're comparing apples to oranges, but whenever India have played Australia in the last two times we have toured Australia, in the Indian
mm.
batting has played Australian bowling very well, right?
Yes.
We have racked up good scores against them. You can't say we definitely do the same in English conditions as well,
Mm,
but at least for a fact we have countered their bowling well in the last two series that we have played them. So for me, that gives a slight edge. For Australia, I feel one key player. Now, obviously, Smith and
too many.
Labuschagne, great batsmen. Obviously, anyone will pick them as the talisman cricketers. But for me, I think if India managed to get Khwaja early in both innings and expose
Mm,
Shami and expose Smith and Labuschagne to Siraj and
Shami
Shami
Siraj.
up front, then it increases India's chances. So getting Khwaja out very early will be important, because Warner, I'm not sure. We have seen in the Ashes
Mm,
whenever he plays in England, he gets exposed early with his
mm.
I mean, there are slight
Broad
deficits in his
around
technique
the wicket.
with the
He struggles
incoming
with that.
ball. So
Mm, mm.
Warner, I still feel may not be much of a threat compared to Khawaja. Khawaja is a big one for me.
True. And that's the hope. I think India needs to bat well. That's so important because I think the bowling for once again will take care of itself, and we will keep at it. Again, if Smith and Labuschagne play like Smith and Labuschagne, anybody can do
Then we are
anything.
in trouble. Yeah, if they play very well, we are in trouble.
But for me, the best template to win this match traditionally for India has been to bat first
Hmm.
and face the music from the fast bowlers and somehow battle the first session, get a 70 for one or something, and from there you take it on to
Hmm.
the end of the day. That
Makes
is
sense.
the best template for me for India in foreign conditions. In India, it doesn't matter. We do anything, we win. We bat till nine. We have five bowlers. I mean, too much luxury we have in India. So never worried in Indian conditions. But here you need to. I unless the pitch is really like scary, कि it's pura cloudy and it's all green, then obviously bowl first. But in case you see potential, definitely
Hmm.
bat first because your strength is a bit of spin bowling also. So
True.
come into play on day 4 and day 5 if you reach there. That is, it can blow up badly also. First session, you don't know 5 wickets are gone and you're like, oh god. Because I'm scared of Stark. I'll be honest, because he's
Hmm.
that kind of bowler that Indians hate facing. It's pace, swing, and left armor.
Left arm
So,
angle, right?
so that always, and Cummins also becomes much better bowler in these conditions.
Correct.
Otherwise, IPL में तो everybody keeps hitting him, right? Abhi यहाँ पे he'll be a threat. So very difficult to call for me. And yeah, heart says India, but mind says it'll be Australia. I just hope there's a result. I mean, if it's a draw, then they share trophies, right? What happens?
Yeah, if it's a draw, then trophy will be shared between two teams, and
Okay.
that's a very good point you mentioned about Stark, right? Because Stark, you don't know which Stark turns up, right? Sometimes it's that erratic Stark who bowls all over the place, and sometimes
Yeah.
he can even concede 50 runs in 10 overs in Test matches because
Yeah.
he
Yeah. Yeah.
bowls so many loose balls. But if he
Correct.
bowls like the way he bowled in the recent India Australia series, he
Mm.
had all Indian batsmen in trouble, right? A genius like Surya was getting out first ball to him,
Every time.
on a couple of occasions. So Stark will be the big one for me. Cummins, as you said, will become potent. And even if Hazelwood is, let's say, injured, Boland is a kind of bowler who will keep going at that off stump
Mm.
line, right? So they have,
Yeah.
he'll be like their Ishan Sharma, who will keep plugging it away at that, off stump area. And Lyon, obviously, another world class bowler who will,
Yeah, good.
if Australia are bowling last and they have a sizable target to defend, again, Lyon comes into the play. So it will be a very, very tough final, right? Even more tougher than the previous final we
Yes,
had.
definitely.
Very
I think
tough.
that was a golden chance to win. This one,
True,
if they win, it'll be even better because it's much tougher opposition.
true.
Lion, last point on Lion. Yeah, completely forgot that Indians and Indian batsmen
Spin.
playing spin. Yeah,
Hmm.
against quality spin, they need to be aggressive against him. I don't think they can let him settle, because the good thing is Green can't bowl that much. Otherwise, they're preserving Green. They want to keep him safe because he's a very good batter and bowls a bit. So try to get Green into the mix. Let him bowl a lot, and
Correct.
stretch their resources. Because if Lion holds up one end, it's very easy
Hmm.
for Australia to keep rotating
Correct.
their paces.
Correct.
So they need to take some chances against Lion, and
Hmm.
I hope Kohli plays him like he was playing spin now in the second half of the IPL. Let's hope that
Right.
happens,
Right.
and we should be fine. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, actually, pretty nervy when you think of it now,
Uh,
right? How things will pan out. So, folks, that was our preview for the WTC final. Don't forget, it's being played from June 7th to 11th, which is Wednesday to Sunday. It is going to be high intensity final. Lot of things up for grabs. India has been without a title for 10 years. I know we have been emphasizing on it, but it's big. The kind of talent that we have at our disposal, we should be winning ICC titles more regularly. This is our chance before the World Cup, obviously, the big one later this year. So let's see how things pan out. Let us know your thoughts, any difference you see in the playing 11 that we have suggested. We would be happy to hear your thoughts. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Your views, your comments, and your likes and thoughts mean a lot to us, since we are a new YouTube channel, and it's two guys basically sharing their analysis and love for cricket. So on that note, folks, take care, see you, and we'll see you next when we review the WTC final. And hopefully it will be an India win. So take care, folks.
all we'll do a ranting session. That's okay.
So either way, we'll have lots to speak about. Hopefully it's an India win. So on that note, take care and stay safe, guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.